Hi, I didn't have dinner, I was just having a bit of a sandwich, sorry.
Well, okay.
It's true.
It is true. Also, everyone should eat, so... Okay, so, when we were putting this set list together, we realised that as poets, we tend to write about tragedy and trauma, and while that's very valid, joy can be a useful and valid form of protest as well. So we've tried to incorporate that a little bit into our set, and we've got 3 themes which will guide you through. Shall I hand off to you?
No, you want to do it
What? Sorry. I had to kill my tree on forest. Okay. No one knows what that is. Okay. Can you give yours then?
Okay, yeah, so we're just going to do content warnings like now at the beginning instead of at the beginning of each poem. So mine are that there'll be like a mention of death in one of my pieces, and then just like a general content warning that the rest of it's like gross and lovey and sorry.
So yes, we decided to give them in a kind of bulk at the beginning, but just to reiterate what Jonah said, we do think trigger warnings are very important, so if you don't feel comfortable, please leave the room or go on your phone. We're not going to take it personally, just keep yourself safe. So themes that I'm going to be discussing include sexuality, death, poverty, self-destruction. I promise this isn't all in one poem. And eating disorders.
Okay. Should we
Yes.
hit it?
Go for it.
Okay.
I want Jonah to do the chant. I want you to do our chant from Unisong.
Does he even know it?
Do it, do it, do it now, do it good, spit that burn just like you should.
Also, just before we begin, can we have a massive round of applause for these guys for putting on this night, because hosting is stressful. Why did I get the wrong key? It's fine. So our first theme sort of is about family and stuff. So this first piece is called Jewish Penicillin. Mum's scraping the pan. The clanging is gentle. Whoops! As some slop slips, splatters the countertop. She hums to herself. I'm the oldest, so I get to hold the ladle. On tiptoes to tip the soup out. Triple strained, it's got to be. That's the way. Mum tries to stop all the bits from spilling, avalanching along the angle of the giant soup cauldron. There's Tupperwares lined out on the kitchen counter. We crack the lids onto them. I count. 5 go in the freezer, 4 in the fridge. We try to find space to stack them. The cat licks his lips. Softened onions and celery squelch under the slotted spoon, pressing down to squeeze the soup through. In sepia tones, the countertop, the stove light, the bowls. I'm reminded of a sore throat soothed by mouthfuls of magic, a dinner table full, dishes empty. Grape juice stains down my nightdress, violet as the ink of your recipe. I remember my mother used to leave it in the oven overnight, check the freezer, a few necks and wings. She would have had a great time with this, would have picked the meat straight off the bone, and your Aunt Pessa, she used to bring it to the bar, pour it all off and start again. Used to make dinner for 16 people. 16. Do you know how many carrots that takes? Heavier than history. I lift lidded vat from oven to stovetop. Steaming, heady, hot cloud hits, sings lahadlik neshal Shabbat to my nostrils. Like those come before us, like Grandma did too, we lift spoons to hopeful lips. Breathe in familiarity. Red, family. We slurp, loud and short, like Pop-Pop used to. Look from the spoons to each other. Needs salt. Thanks. Sorry. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure Jonah knows this though. My grandma's chicken soup is the best chicken soup is like an age-old ongoing argument, just like in Jewish culture. My grandma's chicken soup is But yeah, so not only was my grandma's chicken soup like a big part of my growing up, I guess, but she was actually like a really big part of my life because I lived with her like all through secondary school. So obviously when she passed away, it was like a big deal, very upsetting and all that jazz. So this next poem is for her. Sorry, I just gotta find it. I emailed it to myself. Heaven forbid as poets we could just have like one notebook where everything...
Shall I read my other haikus?
We should have done, yeah, we should have done that. No, I've got it. It's fine. We should do that though. It's called 1 Year. You died just after sunrise, and that's when I woke up today. I sat at the open window, watched the pink clouds move across the cyan sky. Your sunrise was better than this one. But as I watch silhouettes of birds soaring over rooftops and hear the rattling of the train behind me, I think about the poem I wrote for your burial. Think about how much you loved the cat. How you told stories about Mum and Auntie Suzanne when they were little. How you called us each other's names by accident but loved us all just the same. How you fussed over the garden until it was perfect. And it was. How you said God bless when we went to bed and wish you health to wear it when we bought new clothes. And no you won't when I said, see you later, even though I meant later whenever, not later the same day. I always see you in the sky. I don't know if that's where heaven is, or if there's a heaven at all, but I always see you in the sky. Sunrise is always yours. Cheers.
Something that's a bit of a work in protest, but when I heard the theme, it's a work in progress, but the theme is protest, and therefore it fits. Okay. It's called Enhancements. I live on the continent of my grandfather's liver, lamplit by uncle's dotted veins and the specific kind of silence that meets a 5-year-old questioning, how did he die? Later on, Mum told me how uncomfortable she was watching him give me 2-pence pieces in return for kisses. Even now, I think how lonely an addict must be when he robbed his own mother at knife point but willingly exchanged coins for an innocent love that demanded no penance. There was no heating in the 3-bed closet of my childhood bedroom, no double glazing. We tried planting sunflowers in the window box once, but someone scaled the drain pipe to take them. Our favourite game was leaping from the bunk bed, long hair streaming until Mum took us downstairs and showed us the cracks we had made in her ceiling. As I grew, I inherited skeletons. the ghost of fruit. My mother said that they would only eat at Christmas. The grassy field and then the shelter that made her temporary home, the body of my aunt's neighbour when she stumbled on her flesh, still engulfed in flames. The blood of the woman who tried to kiss my grandma, who sent a group of men to her house armed with splintered rage, my second cousin who somehow escaped. When I was 13, Grandma told me about the time she was raped, and the baby had rickets and was taken away. Dad told us bedtime stories of waking covered in blood, laughing at the fact he didn't know whose. When Mum's skin ripened black, she left us with him. She uses the breath. His hands try to snatch from her throat in constant apology. The only way we escaped food banks was through her bargaining. One year we gave up central heating. The only room warm that winter was the kitchen. We'd gather at the stove top, oven doors open. My family joking that carbon monoxide poisoning was a risk worth taking to turn the fire on. My mother wrote her dissertation in a day, with 4 children playing in the background. When I got into grammar school, she urged me to be an anomaly in an oversized blazer, met with sniggers of laughter and hushed conversations explaining our internet still started with a dial-up tone. The other kids called us benefit scroungers. The blame is always single mothers, not abusive dads refusing to pay child tax credits. At university, I carried the full weight of tuition fee increases in my lungs. Met new friends who taught me how to speak, softening my tongue and sharpening my teeth until my family no longer recognized my voice. And now, they're young conservatives. Bankers or brokers or junior assistants in the Department of Brexit negotiations. They will tell you there is no class divide, because they have only ever lived in heated homes and eaten vegetables not packaged in cans, not realising they grow fat on the waning of children's stomachs, on soaring sales of rope and paracetamol packets that they drown other human beings in the silent screams of their ballot boxes. And I'm privileged. I'm still here, but I'm exhausted. So when I'm offered a chance to trace my lineage, I reply, the last 2 generations were more than enough loss for one lifespan. Thank you. But in my introduction, I mentioned that poets often think they have to write about tragedy and trauma, and I'm just going to put my hand up and say that was definitely me, until I met team leads and they showed me that my poems could be about nice things. So I wrote a poem about my first pride. Oh my goodness, this is so annoying. I know it, but I just don't want to forget it, so I want it just as a backup. Where did my tongue go? Did I leave it, wrapped in rainbows at the bottom of your bed? Pride flag turned hero cape, filling my throat with the screams of straight propaganda over the Grease medley in the bar that refused to play our music. Sequins adorning candy floss hair, half a tub of gold glitter, on my lips. We kept having to swallow it, when we kissed, and a sunburned jewel adorning my chest. I was afraid you'd laugh when I took my clothes off, but you smiled and said, thank God you're naked. This was a first for both of us. But I knew it was what I wanted as soon as I saw the vibrancy of your curls and the matching lipsticks, and my drunken tongue kept confessing this and saying it was like so gay. And you said no shit. Wanting to fuck another woman, that's about as gay as it gets. Warning. It's probably not the best to send a 5 a.m. text to your best friends with the message, "I'm still alive! I'll explain in the morning." But who knew once we started that we would keep going until the sun warmed the room? I guess that's one hell of a prize waiting outside the bars of the closet window. I'm sorry about the bed. That the second time we met, we snapped the metal frame in half and, still high as fuck and naked, dismantled its metal bones and piled them in your living room. Half afraid your roommate would walk through the door and catch us. I used to get stuck on the fact that us never worked out. But I think I understand now. We were never meant to be a love song. We were a rebellion chant, calling ourselves to a personal revolution.
I'm just fucking up the carpet, don't mind. We actually haven't heard all of each other's poems for this set, and I love that one.
I knew it.
So in case you couldn't tell, we've sort of moved on to like, hey, we're queer as fuck.
I should have mentioned that.
It's fine. So yeah, continuing in that fashion. This is called Like the Movies. It's not like the movies. The X on my hand from tonight's gig will not appear as a slightly faded imprint on the centre right of my forehead when I wake. I'll wash it off before bed. It's not like the movies. We won't stay up talking because I've got to be up really early for work tomorrow, so I'll go halfway through the music. It's not like the movies. The pink rosebud I carry home pressed lovingly between notebook stacks is one I found by the bus stop. But sometimes it is. Beneath the music, we look at each other at the same time. Both look away with a can't help it smile. I take a photo of you, and when you lean in to see it, it's just that little bit too close. Like I can feel that my hair is on your cheek. I can tell that if we turned our heads, we would bump noses. I so want to bump noses with you. But we won't have our first kiss tonight. Real life's not like the movies. This Valentine's Day, I'll go home alone. These pretty petals, not a gift. My only company on a bus, trundling through the dark, the cold. And I'll be smiling the whole way. Cheers. So sticking with the theme of like, oh my god, I totally fancy you and I'm really awkward, hi. This one is called Breakfast. It took 6 days for the love bites to fade. But the lust pangs, they're still around. You'd asked me to stay for breakfast. As the copy machine whirs, I press my forehead against the window, watch branches bend in the breeze. Scrape of wooden chairs, teaspoons clink, cheeks blush, awkward half laughs cling to the tablecloth. My daydreams are spilt milk, your bed, the bottle. I don't know if I should drink the whole glass or smash it. But no one wants broken glass in their cereal. And I'm a bit lactose intolerant, so I really shouldn't drink you pure, so I'll stand here by the copy machine and daydream about breakfast with you.
I'm going to have to do that again. She just whispered what piece I'm doing when I was taking a dramatic pause.
No, I said let's do sneeze.
Oh, I think you said the thing. Sorry. Sorry, psych. Okay. 9. In fields of heather, his tongue went threats to burn the men before us. Smoke, pipes through grouse burrows, guns, casting shadows over my sister's pram. 12. We turned out the lights. In that empty classroom, removed shirts let silhouettes free against starlight, her lips singing to mine in the velvet silence. 15. I turned to self-punishment at each thought of flesh. Skipping meals or strategically banging my head cancel her memory, but the firework constellations of those blood blooms always returned her to me. 16. Whiskey. I could taste the burn of his lips when he kissed me like I'd seen him kiss my mother. 19. Told 2 decades a man would fill this emptiness, yet thoughts of suicide fill my head and heart like wheeling birds at the joining of our mistaken bones. Try to speak. Choke on the white feathers produced when my lips part. 16. His hands and their angle mattered in porcelain fragments of my thighs. In the vertex of the verdict, my veins splinter, my wrists crack from the pressure. 21. Robin. Rose, soaked, keratin wrapped through fingers. She begs me not to leave, but I flee when the ricochet of men's voices pierce the thick foliage of our kisses. 23. Curious to find where the feathers come from, I split the mirror. Take the shard to my face, my lips, my arm, peel back the cracks at my wrists as they form, but find only darkness. The radio tells tales where our held hands become a death wish, and Instagram comments saying they'd rather we shrivel and die alone than for flesh to meet offending flesh and bone to greet dissenting bone. They'd rather our breath snatched in pain than in a static moan. 25. She kisses my wrist, reunites our bodies in the darkness that spills from them. Our calls become birdsong.
I love that piece. I've heard it like a bunch of times. I still love it. That last line always gets me. This next one's called Petals. Our first kiss was not real. It was in a dream I had last night. A dream in which you had a dog and we were in your parents' house, front garden full of flowers in a cute village town. somewhere I've never been. Because it was a dream, your dog was orange, and the walls moved by themselves to push us closer to each other. The petals of our faces pressed together left no air, no space in the room for anything else, no space in the world either. I'm not sure whether it was you who had me against the wall or if it was the other way around, but I'm pretty sure these walls were excellent wingmen, because now I had your sweet pollen tongue wrapped around mine, and nectar thick in my veins as we searched for each other's lips over and over, like bumblebees yearning for their gold dust.